Good afternoon from the second day of the World Seed Congress here in Rotterdam. My name is Alessandra Salamine and I'm the moderator of this session that is sponsored by Biocrop Science. For the ones that do not know us, we are a company that is leading in the space of our agriculture, and we develop and offer innovative solutions and products to farmers. I would like to welcome the online and in-person participants to this session and thank them for taking the time to be here with us for our panel that is entitled From Seeds to Ecosystems, the Elements of Regenerative Agriculture. These days, we hear a lot the word regenerative agriculture. And what we would like today is to take a moment to talk about the overall concept of regenerative agriculture, but also to see how it relates to our seed industry and how we can translate this concept into some concrete, tangible actions to support the change in the agri-food system. To do that, we have two speakers that are also colleagues from Biocrop Science, and I'm now going to invite them to introduce themselves. Cristiane, please, the floor is yours.
Okay, well, good afternoon, everybody. Good day to the ones that are watching us online. I'm Cristiane Lourenco, and I lead sustainability for the Bayer Vegetable Seeds organization. And my role in the company is really integrating sustainability, not only in our operations, but also in our pipeline. And besides my role in Bayer, I also am part of the sustainability committee for the IFPA, the International Federation Fresh Produce Organization. So very nice to be here with you.
JD?
Thank you. I'm JD Rousseau. I lead the Global Vegetable R&D Organization for Bayer Crop Sciences. I'm a plant breeder by training, and I also have a connection back to a family farm down in South Africa. So regenerative agriculture is in the center and the front of what we do at work, but also what we do as a family back in South Africa.
Thank you both. And I suggest that we start immediately with our questions. The first one is for you, Cristiane. Let's start with the concept of regenerative agriculture. I said a minute ago that it's an overall broad concept, but can you please tell us what does regenerative agriculture mean for Bayer, and how do we intend to contribute to regenerative agriculture?
Okay. So for us, regenerative agriculture is really based on outcome ecosystem approach. Regenerative agriculture may have different meanings, and we really look at what's the science, what are the key outcomes that the science and the data are there, are really putting for regenerative agriculture practice. And then for us, we are really looking for farm systems, support growers with farm systems that are going to drive for 6 main outcomes. And we have in the screen, I think it's kind of small to read, but I will go through all these. So of course, we start with soil health, right? For the whole regenerative agriculture discussion, soil health is the core, right? How really you have healthy soils, how we restore, or how you really work with the soil to be healthy and help the grower increase the yields and have the production. Yield and productivity is also another key element for us, right? So is how you work with nature, but also to help the grower to increase the yield and the productivity that he has. Along with those two benefits, we also look for conservation of water. Water is a key topic today in all the countries, right? So a lot of countries in water scarcity risk, so really looking for practices and systems that can help with producing with less water, conservation of water. Biodiversity, very key and important, especially in the industry I am with fruits and vegetables, right? So preserve and restore biodiversity is a key element there. And then climate change, mitigation, and adaptation. So what are the practices that can help the growers to not only minimize the emissions of greenhouse gas in the production, but can also help growers to minimize the impacts that they are facing on climate change. And we're going to talk about some examples today. And then finally, and one very key important, especially in the work we have in sustainability, is the well-being of farmers, right? So the social aspect on impact that those practices or that ecosystem approach can create in the communities or for the growers is also one key element for our position in regenerative agriculture. You ask about our role, right? So we are a science company. We bring innovation. So we support some principles, some practices that we enable growers to address regenerative agriculture, like cover soils, less tillage, right? More diversification as well. But we see our role as really a company that needs to bring the solutions that will enable the farmers to drive those practices, right? Each farmer has a different ecosystem, and we believe that the farmers, they need to choose the practices that are the most most applicable for their conditions in that system. So we are really looking to bring innovations that can drive some of those practices that will deliver the outcomes that I talk about. And in terms of our vision for regenerative agriculture, today Bayer Crop Science has a footprint in 340 million acres globally. Like with our solutions, that's our footprint. So we really believe that we can even increase that footprint with more access with our solutions and reach 400 million acres globally. On really promoting, deliver solutions and helping farmers to promote regenerative agriculture systems.
Thank you. JD, a question for you. In Bayer Crop Science, we have a powerful engine in R&D, and we invest a significant amount of resources in R&D. What is, in our view, the contribution that R&D in crop science can give to support solutions for regenerative agriculture?
No, thank you for the question. So if you look at what we do in Bayer Crop Sciences, we spent a little bit more than about 2.4 billion euros every year in R&D crop sciences. And that generates about 24 billion euro sales, which means growers are actually interested to actually use the products we develop for our R&D engine. But of that comes a really important responsibility to focus on what our farmers, our growers, our customers around the world need from a solution around regenerative ag, and we need to build the R&D engine around it. So if you look at the R&D engine, there's 5 components to what we do. We've got our breeding engine that focuses on the genetics. We've got our plant biotech platform that focuses on biotechnology, but also gene editing. And then we have the platform around digital farming, a platform around crop protection, and also our biologics. So combining those 5 different platforms, starting with the grower, the farmer at the center of that, and build back your product concepts to really define how do you attack the solutions that growers need from a regenerative ag, from a sustainability, and from a profit perspective.
And now let's go a little bit more into details. JD, can you share some concrete examples of innovation that will support growers, just so that people can appreciate a little bit better what are we talking about?
Yeah, so maybe I'll share a few examples and really put a filter from a grower perspective or a farmer perspective on it. One of the examples of something that we're really excited about around the world is the launch of our short stature corn product concept. And it really takes the challenges corn growers or maize growers, if you're in a different part of the world, has around sustainability. Things like lodging, a lot of crop yield loss, which is one of the focus areas for us, around a product concept where you reduce the plant height of corn by about 30%. That reduced the amount of lodging and stalk lodging and root lodging that you see in a field with a grower. It also improved the ability for a grower and a farmer right for the season to access the field and really be specific and targeted on how they apply chemistry around fungicides, insecticides as the season evolves. Which in the past with taller corn, you don't have the access other than the first few weeks of the season. And then also it actually helped with the yield loss that you see for normal lodging. So improving the yield of a grower, the profitability, so you can produce more in a very sustainable way on the same footprint hectare-wise. The second product concept or the project we're working on is hybrid wheat, like many of the other seed companies out there. What is really interesting is that we are focusing not only on producing hybrid wheats from a genetic perspective that improve yields by 10 to 15%, We're also trying to bring that with the right disease package to market so we can reduce the application of fungicides, insecticides, also bring to market a tailored solution around a genotype, a digital platform to help growers better predict the densities on his or her soils based on the environment that they actually have to grow a hybrid wheat on. So really different product concepts that focus on sustainability and regenerative ag. And the third example I would like to mention is CoverCress. That's one of our investments and a partner with Bunge and Chevron really to focus on creating over the last just over a decade through CoverCress a new oilseed crop for the Midwest and the US, where farmers now have the ability in the next few years to commercially produce a crop that can provide additional profit between a corn and a soybean and a corn rotation system right for the winter season. It also has the ability to improve the soil quality for a grower. With root, it also captures more moisture. It allows better weed control into the spring, and then also improve the biome and the soil quality for a grower in that cropping rotation system. And also in a very sustainable way, it also provides an additional income for the grower in that period between the fall and the spring. So those are the three product concepts.
Yeah. What I like about this example is, and I was going to talk about that later, is that sustainability and regenerative ag brings also new business opportunities for us, right, for the whole industry. Covergrass is one of the examples where it's a new business opportunity. We were not there before, yep. Right? And we are entering, of course, to enable those practices, but at the same time, is a new value pool for us. I think I like the examples that you shared, JG, and I would just add a few examples more on the commercial side, right? I think those are great examples on the development of R&D solutions. So we also, as JG mentioned before, we have a platform of service, right? Digital solution service that go beyond our seeds and crop protection innovation portfolio. So in terms of how we are using that to really scale regenerative agriculture and sustainability, we have two examples that I would like to share. One is our carbon program, so another new business model for us, right? Another new value pool where we enter as a new business opportunity. And for this carbon program, we are providing service through our digital platforms for growers in Latin America, North America, and Europe, right? So those are the three spaces, markets where we enter. In Europe, we are working more with tomatoes, processing tomatoes, some special crops. In North America, basically more corn and soybeans, but exploring as well how we can help other growers. And in Latin America, we have 2,000 growers work with soybeans and corn. And that's one I want to highlight because we have been working with those growers for more than 3 years now. And the work we are doing with them is really showing that because they are deploying innovation, they are doing cover crops, they are minimizing tillage, they were able to reduce in 35% the carbon footprint in the soybean production. So I think it's really nice because one challenge, the challenge we always face is how you measure, right? How you really work with the growers to capture the data and to show the impact. And that example from Brazil, clearly the data, we work together with Embrapa, that's the Brazilian Agriculture Agency, where we are able to really see 35% reduction in carbon. Another example we have in this kind of how we take this whole innovation and we put in one specific ecosystem approach is what we are doing in India, right? So in India, we are promoting direct seeded rice, because one of the key impacts on rice is really like the water, of course, but then the emission of gases there. So in India, we are really promoting through our commercial organization, putting all those solutions together, using data, digital solutions as well, and supporting growers to transition to direct seed rice. What we expect there is really impacts on water, 40% less use of water in the rice production, and then 45% reduction on the carbon footprint for rice production. So I think those are kind of two nice examples also to illustrate how we are taking what JG was saying in terms of innovation and put that in an ecosystem approach with our commercial organization, be able to measure the impacts and results we can create as well.
Excellent. And now that we talked a lot about what we are doing with our products, I would zoom out and look at the entire seed industry. What can the seed industry do to support solutions for the introduction of regenerative agricultural practices?
Yeah, maybe I'll start a little bit. So if you zoom out, correct, as the seed industry, I think we are really positioned very well to be able to drive the regenerative agricultural agenda. And I think our growers and our farmers around the world really count on us as a seed industry, whether you're doing plant breeding, providing new chemistry solutions or digital platform, to really bring it to life and help growers, him or her around the world, to really practice and put it into practice and make a profit on his or her farm. So the way we can do it is really to stay back and say, all right, from an R&D perspective, as a company like Bayer, can we build regenerative agriculture and sustainability into every single product concept that we develop? So start with from the beginning and say, if you want to develop this new variety of tomato, do you want to be able to deliver higher yield with a reduced usage of water or any other input costs to help that grower to be more efficient? It also comes down to the fact that you need to make sure that you tie all the pieces together. So bringing a digital platform with the genetics and the crop protection to life in that solution for the grower around the world. And then also making sure as an industry, we continue to focus on transparency on what we do. Making sure that we can articulate the message and the benefits this bring, not only to our customers and our growers around the world, but also to the end consumers and the general public out there.
Absolutely. Cristiane, would you like to complement?
Yeah, no, I think as I always position as opportunities, right? That's the word. Even yesterday in our group, I was talking about opportunities. Sometimes we face sustainability more about compliance, or we need to do because there's no water. But I think this is an amazing opportunity for the industry, right? And also to position ourselves, like you said, JG. 3 years ago, I was in an event, a sustainability event in the US, and there were so many panels the whole day, and I was the only person talking about breeding and sustainability, right? So I thought, wow, how can? Because we start with the seeds. So we have a big opportunity to really position the portfolio and position us as enablers, right? As I said, for those practices. And I like you mentioned, we like talk about tomatoes, and we need to talk about tomatoes, right? JG mentioned the example about water. Sometimes, of course, you need to think about how you're going to breed, how you bring those benefits in our pipeline as long-term. But sometimes we already have the attributes there, and we don't communicate. And I think that's what our team found out, right, in Woodland, where we started to look our commercial varieties and also varieties that we would enter now for the processing tomato industry in California with a different angle. We put water as one of the elements of the trials, right? And we found out during 3 years of initial trials that some of our varieties that are ready commercially in California, they can deliver more yield to the growers with 20% less water, right? We never positioned that. We never talked about that. Of course, to sell that as a benefit, we need much more trials, right? We need to claim, but I think it's really a good way to start to communicate to the growers and work in this kind of system approach where do you really think you need all that water? Because we saw in our trials that we can deliver even more yield, same quality with less water. So I think that's a nice example to illustrate what you said about integrating the pipeline, right?
Yeah, and Chris, that maybe raised another example that I just thought about. Over my career, I had the privilege to really travel around the world and visit growers and customers in many parts of the world. But I want to take you back about 18 months when I was outside of Bangalore in India. And we visit very early in the morning, we visit one of the fresh markets where growers bring their produce for the previous day or that morning and come and sell it on a fresh open market. And what was amazing, we've got this tomato variety in India that's now also going commercial in Kenya and Africa called Ansel. And as that morning, and I'm still getting excited thinking back on that experience, as the growers, the farmers brought their produce in, the first question before they sell it to the fresh market was, what's the variety name? And every single time the grower said Ansel, the price just jumped by 50%. And it was amazing to see the price fluctuation just by the variety name. And it wasn't the variety per se that was the big benefit. It was the fact that growers and the value chain over the last 2 years since the product was released really figure out the sustainability value of that specific product. And the really cool story about this Ansel variety tomato from India is that that product would sit on a truck on a shelf 3 to 4 days more than the average tomato variety that gets harvested. So the value chain in the end consumer has that ability to generate a longer shelf life, also less food waste. That was really having a big impact on the quality of the produce. So just looking at food waste from a regenerative agriculture perspective, how do we leverage genetics, the ability to characterize our products, and then unlock the opportunity with our genetics and our products is just amazing. And again, you can imagine that grower coming in the morning and by default, because he or she grows Ansel, getting a 50% higher price. That is a great story around regenerative agriculture and what's the opportunity that we can unlock.
And that's one of our outcomes, right? Well-beings of farmers. But I need to do my sustainability job here and add to that story, because we worked with the Wageningen University and we did a study related to Ansel tomato in India. And we were able to measure with the university, because as the variety has more shelf life, like JG said, we support the reduction of losses through the transportation, right? By reducing the losses of tomatoes there, that variety can deliver 23% less greenhouse gas emission in the tomato production, right? Just because we are reducing the amount of loss. So we all know that the biggest, one of the biggest problems in terms of greenhouse gas emissions in food, in agriculture, is about losses, right? 40% what is produced, especially fruits and vegetables, is being lost. So that was an amazing way to also see another outcome that we talk about on mitigating climate change through innovation come from the seed.
Thank you very much. Very passionate discussion. I would like to bring it now to another level. Innovation is key, but we know that to deliver on innovation, we need partnership. Would you provide some examples of partnership that we are currently undertaking to deliver on regenerative agriculture?
Okay, I think you can start and talk about some things we announced here.
Yeah, well, this morning, very excited. This morning we announced that from a genome editing perspective, we signed 2 agreements as Bayer Crop Sciences. The one is with a biotech startup company in South Korea. We're going into a collaboration and a partnership for a gene edit that increase significantly the levels of vitamin D in tomatoes. And then over the next 4 years, we're going to bring this product in our Bayer genetics for tomato to market around the world where the regulatory process allows us to do it. So we're really, really excited with this partnership with GFLAS, some from South Korea. Also this morning, we've announced that we've signed a product licensing agreement with Pairwise, one of the companies that you are very familiar with in the US, to actually license and sell their mustard seed lettuce to be able to have a more nutritional, better tasting variety out there. It's also the first gene editing product that was already sold last year in the US. So this year we will sell that product as well for the 2nd year of commercial sales in the US environment, country, and also the opportunity in the future to expand that globally. And then third of all, because we always want to look at opportunities out there, we also this morning launched an open innovation platform around genome editing, specifically for the fruits and veg space. So anybody, universities, public institutes, small seed companies, if you have a very interesting gene edit project that you're working on, or an edit that's ready to go to market, come and talk to us. We have the opportunity to collaborate, see if there's a business opportunity for both of us, and take products to market. And what is really cool this morning is the 2 proof points that we are serious about our platform around innovation is the GFLAS and the Pairwise announcements and agreements that we have in place. So really exciting this morning to specifically talk about partnerships in a space that's evolving very quickly, unlock a huge amount of opportunities for us in the plant breeding space as a new plant breeding tool within the kit of our plant breeders.
Okay. Do we still have time to add?
Briefly.
Okay. So I think going beyond the R&D partnerships, we also have partnerships in a commercial level, right? So I can mention here the IFPA, International Fresh Produce Association, where we are partnering with them on the Climate Smart project in the US. That's part of the USDA grants to support growers. So we're talking about more than 100 growers in the US that will be front runners in climate smart practice. And the way we're really being part of that collaboration is providing our solutions, right? So the example I gave on tomato, we offer the solutions for growers to test and learn with the practice. And then that project will help the US government and also the industry to really understand, okay, what do we mean about climate smart, how we measure, right? So that's amazing collaboration we have as well in a commercial level.
Thank you. And time is ticking. Before we conclude the discussion, we are at the World Seed Congress. We have the seed industry. We have many other stakeholders. Do you have any last key message that you want to deliver to them?
Wow, I can start if you want. I think the time to act is now. That is the sentence I had. I think we have amazing opportunity as seed business, right? And also all the partners that work with us in this industry. We need to position ourselves, but we need to really use our solutions as a neighbor for those practices, right? We cannot wait more. We are seeing here climate change, what's going on in Brazil this week, what's going on in Kenya with floods, right? Italy growers lost all their production 3 years ago because of extremely heat conditions. So really is the time for us to act as a whole sector and address some of those challenges and support the integration of regenerative agriculture.
Yeah, I mean, not much to add. It's just I would change and add, it's not just an opportunity, it's also a responsibility we have as a seed industry around the world. I mean, growers, my family farm back in South Africa, my family look at us as input providers to help them solve all the challenges that Chris just mentioned that's heading our way for our growers and farmers around the world. So the time to act is right now. We do as an industry have a lot of different tools in the toolbox, whether you're a plant breeding company, a chemistry company, a seed provider, equipment company, to help unlock the opportunity that we have around sustainability, and then also regenerative ag, and then the ability to do that in a very profitable way for growers and farmers around the world. So that's the opportunity.
And thank you very much for your participation to this panel. It has been a very passionate and inspiring conversation. I would like also to thank all the in-person and online participants, and to conclude by saying that this is just the first conversation. We're looking forward to continuing with all the interested stakeholders. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for having me.